You're listening to NPRmageddon, National Post-Apocalyptic Radio.
This is President Skullcore. I command you to listen to my new audio series, NPRmageddon.
With over 80 actors, including Fred Willard.
How cool is that?
John Delancey.
This is a protein opportunity that is rarely seen on this side of the 405.
Andrew Bowser.
It looked like the end, but a funny thing happened on the way to world domination.
Erica Ishii.
Nothing brightens your day quite like hard drugs.
Hart D. Fisher.
Big hat, bad person. Big hat, bad person.
Tazon Day.
Do you really want to go out like a namby-pamby, thumb-sucking, whittle-bitty crybaby?
And me, Lejean. I said, can you dig it?
So go forth to NPRmageddon.com/listen for further instructions.
To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering.
I fucking love that promo. Hi, I'm Hart Fisher from American Horrors, and now Hart Attack again. We are relaunching my podcast radio show, Hart Attack Radio. I am Hart D. Fisher, and with me tonight is Max DeVill, and we're going to be bringing in Peter Podgursky and our good friend Bryan. I'm fucking up his last name already. God damn it. We'll get him to say it right when he's on camera. Guys, we have not done Hart Attack for quite a while. This is our maiden voyage on having a visual component. I want to thank Max DeVill for stepping in as the dungeon master here. But he's been the dungeon master at American Horrors for quite some time. A lot of people don't know that he's been my sergeant of tech since we launched the American Horrors Roku channel from the Harbor View Motel here in Lake Geneva in 2015. And so it's a lot of fun to be doing this because actually Max was on the last couple of episodes of the Hart Attack radio show that was on Jackalope Radio and also on SoundCloud. And so now we're going to be doing this with the Madness Network, and we're going to be doing this here at American Horrors. We're going to try this out for like once a month because things have been really goddamn busy for all of us. For people who do not know, Max DeVill is the publisher of Atrocity Press, and he's got this really great book coming out. Did the trade paperback come out, dude, already?
Yeah, trade paperback is...
Mary Machine Gun?
It is out.
There you go. And if I remember correctly, I believe I saw your books being carried over at Trike's Comic Alley that has just moved to Delavan, and your work is prominently displayed right at the front counter.
Sweet. Yeah, we were published by Antarctic Press, so we are in comic shops now, and with Mary Machine Gun. If you want to stay up to date with Mary Machine Gun, you can go to atrocitypress.com and figure out all the information about all of our products. We've got a whole line of comics that we do. It's we call it 90s style Bad Girl books with flair.
I call it the upskirt panty shots, you bastards. But then
that works too.
Adult films with Max Hardcore and Peter Kirkove and Otto Bauer, Audrey Hollander, JM Productions, Jim Powers. A lot of big, scary guys, including Rob Black and Matt Zane. And my old friend Max Hardcore, who passed away a couple months ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Max passed away just a couple months ago. He'd been fighting prostate cancer, and that happens to a lot of people that have been in the big house. That's a thing that seems pretty common for people that get out of prison is prostate cancer. They're not feeding them the best food in there. But we're back to Hart Attack. We're here to have a good time. I am Hart D. Fisher, and we're going to bring on – it's going to be fun because Peter and Bryan are the creators of NPRmageddon. Now, if you've been watching American Horrors, you've been seeing these promos run for the last year. But what you guys don't know is that Peter and Bryan have been working on this series for like years. I left Los Angeles in the summer of 2015 to move to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And right around that time is when they were recording a great deal of their voice actors because it's a classic radio play. And I like a radio play. I like books on tape. I like radio plays. I like podcasts. It's great when you're in your car and you're on your way to work and you're stuck in traffic to put something like NPRmageddon on. And they've gotten a really good support from the NPR people that do National Public Radio. They've done a great job of integrating the notion of this is the last city on earth, Los Angeles. And I'm one of the primary actors in the show. And Peter and I met each other in 2008 when I was launching American Horrors. We met at Shriek Fest, and Peter kind of freaked me out. I was doing a live journal thing, and it was a daily thing that I was doing, and you don't always understand that you become a channel. And so we were at this awesome film festival for American Horrors, the first American Horrors TV series, Shriek Fest. Great film festival. And so Peter shows up, we meet him, we're hanging out at the opening night party, we interview him. He shows up the next day, he's like, yeah, I read your whole live journal. What? You what?
You read the whole thing?
He read the whole fucking thing. Oh my fucking God, that never even occurred to me, dude. So let's bring these guys on. You saw the promo. Let's bring on Peter and Bryan right now, if we could. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
An absolute pleasure
on your show. Yeah, it's the pleasure is all ours. And thank you, Max, for hosting and doing all the great technical work that you do.
Yeah.
It's the unsung hero's job, but he is a DM master. He is a dungeon master. He normally likes to lead, and yes, he's the sergeant of tech.
No, we're gonna sing his praises. He's not unsung. He is sung.
He is sung, but not with actual notes or melody.
Now, Peter, for you, that was totally normal to like read my journal. You met me on the Friday, and then on Saturday, you read the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, well, it was one of my very first festivals that I got in that I could actually attend because I had a thesis. My thesis film from USC was called Cheerbleeders.
Which is a great film, by the way, for everybody at home. That was one of the things that attracted me to Peter. Peter had a real intelligence from the get-go. And his interview is in our Shriekfest opening night party ceremonies. And Peter showed like a real sharpness right from the get-go. And I thought that you showed that by reading the whole fucking live journal and then showing up that, hey, your live journal is very interesting.
Yeah. No, and I remember meeting your lovely late wife Waka, and just like, it was cool because like I like to be prepared, right? And so like you're gonna walk in and you go to one of these festivals, and I think a lot of times when people go to a horror film festival, I think people are like, oh wow, I really hope someone will talk to me, and I thought, oh, I can be that guy that'll walk up and talk to you, because like that works both directions, and so. Yeah, I did a lot of research on the people that were there. Your background was very interesting, and I had known your work from the Jeffrey Dahmer comic book previously. So I was like, oh, that's the same guy. I sort of connected A and B, and so yeah, God, that was quite some time ago. But what's interesting is like
dude, it's 2008.
I know that short film.
2008, Peter.
I know that short film.
We've known each other that goddamn long because
it's been a pleasure.
Is great. We haven't gotten it on the network yet. We're going to, but you've got Murder Baby on the network.
Yeah, I think you're also playing I think you're playing a few Objects music videos as well. That I made, and yeah, I think American Horrors has always been really super nice to me, and. I remember when we were writing NPRmageddon, Bryan and I were looking for like a certain kind of like dissident terrorist kind of like bizarre character that had like a lot of energy. And I was like, God,
we were looking for terrorists.
Yeah, we're looking for like that terrorist.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I love having that label hung around my neck. Thank you.
But I remember. Do you remember? I played you some of the old Hart Attack radio.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
and it blew us away.
I was like, this guy could do it if and we're like, okay, yeah. So we
and suddenly a generic character started to become very specific as we kind of honed in on your voice. So yeah.
Yeah, and. Yeah, I remember we recorded you all in like one rainy day, one rainy Mother's Day in Los Angeles, knocked it all out. And
scary thing is it was the day after I did my late wife's memorial in Los Angeles at the CIA Institute for the Arts with Carl Crew and all of Waka's loved ones out in Los Angeles. And we had a performance from a good friend of mine, Neil, who sang the Kermit the Frog, the Rainbow Connection. And it was so moving. It was so damn moving. And so and it was like, you're not driving home, are you? And I'm like, the fuck I am. Are you kidding me? It was baked out of my fucking mind. And I was fucking drinking and
yeah, you're having it. Yeah, you're
and
having
then I
that
came
time.
to your house the next day to record
Oh my
the
God.
whole thing. After waiting how many years? Like it was 3 years. You guys
Was
were
it that
talking to me
long?
about
It was
this
a while.
project in 2015.
It was a
and
while.
I
It was
moved
a
to
while.
Geneva, so now this is like May 2018, and I'm out there in LA, and I'm recording this with you guys.
Yeah, and let me say a little bit about the recording session. Like, we did a lot in a little bit of time, right? There was a lot of material to cover, and now this may surprise Hart fans. Not really, but Hart has a terrific ability to speak extemporaneously, improvisationally. So the stuff that was on the page just got better and better and better and more evolved as Hart started to sort of take it over. And I mean, what we got was just super special. So thank you, Hart, for lending your talents.
Well, I asked you guys, that's the interesting crossover of I'm a director and I didn't plan on being an actor. Like that wasn't, I kind of want to do Chuck Norris action movies, guys. I really want to do, The Octagon, A Force of One. I really want to go and do those kinds of movies. And with Liam Neeson able to kick ass in his 60s and Taken, I'm feeling like I can do that. Plus, I'm more highly trained than Liam Neeson is.
Yeah, they can edit. They can edit. I mean, that scene where Liam Neeson like jumps over the fence. There's like 19 edits in that that one fucking like 3-second scene.
Yeah. So I think that it was interesting to be a part of your cast because you guys did have a clear character in front of you. And yet again, I'd like to ask you guys this question. This has happened to me several times where I, as a personality, have been cast in films. I'm in The Orphan Killer 2, Bound by Blood, and I'm Hart Fisher. And so why did you guys make the artistic decision to keep me in NPRmageddon as Hart Fisher and not President Skullgore?
Well, it's a good question because that was something we'd come up against a lot. Oftentimes, it seems like why make up a name if someone has a cool name is like the first thing. On most of our reporters, we would have used their real names, but not always the character. So it would sort of just depend. But like, just Hart Fisher was such a cool name. I mean, if your name was like Rufo Knickenbocker, maybe we would have changed your name, right? Like, so it's just sort of a
and don't forget the D, right? Hart D Fisher. You got to get that D in there. You got to slip that D in there.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, that was part of the branding that I grew up with in comic books. Like Everett Hartso's Razor, Bryan Polito's Lady Death, and you had that branding. John Carpenter's Halloween 5, and so you kind of had that branding, and I resisted that for a long time. Because I felt like you had to achieve a certain level of flavor and you had to get a brand out there before you could declare yourself a brand. And I feel like the fans like yourself, you guys declared my brand before I did.
Yeah, well, it definitely helps when someone else declares your brand, right? Like that's a cooler look rather than if somebody else exists,
It's like someone giving you a nickname or you telling everybody you wanted to be called by a nickname. It's better to get your nickname given to you than it is to tell someone it's your nickname.
Yeah.
Don't call me Francis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Please call me Huge Penis Hart Fisher. That's my nickname.
So we've talked about a lot of this stuff, but let's go back to the beginning. Where did you get the idea for NPRmageddon?
Yeah.
I got the idea. It was in 2015. And that was like during the height of like the podcast boom. Podcasts were really kicking off. And a friend of mine, he's a comic book author named Jackson Lansing. I'd worked on a couple sets. He's also a filmmaker. And he said, "Oh, you should check out this podcast called Night Vale, which is like this fairly popular."
To Night Vale.
Yeah, welcome to Night Vale.
Super
popular. You've heard of it, Max?
Yeah.
It's an
iconic.
It's
one of the OGs in the space. Yeah.
And I listened to it, and I was like, and I liked it. It's very much like H.P. Lovecraft, and it's like takes place in like it's a radio show similar to NPRmageddon in so much that it's like news radio, but it's like news radio in the sleepy town. And it's very creepy and Lovecraftian.
Supernatural.
It's a
also
lot of
Orson Welles.
Yeah, but it's a lot of just one actor mostly, kind of monologuing through the whole thing.
Okay.
And it's a very good performance. Nothing against Night Vale. I quite enjoyed it. But as I was listening to it, I was thinking, oh, I think I could do something similar, but maybe more to my taste and like bigger in scope. And
well,
so,
how did Bryan get involved? Like,
well,
okay, you're talking about you. How was Bryan involved?
This is the next step of the story. So, like,
enough about you, Peter.
Yeah. So, like,
fuck you, Peter. God damn it.
No, Bryan,
Mr. Interviewed on American Horror several times, son of a bitch.
Act 1, Peter listens and thinks, oh, okay, I think I can do something in this genre. And I called Bryan that day after I listened to like 4 episodes of Night Vale. I go, I've just heard this thing called Welcome to Night Vale. I think it's pretty good. I think maybe we could do something like it. And he goes, what do you mean? It's like, well, let's make like, I think in like a Canon Films, like super action, really big post-apocalyptic story that sort of takes place.
Take them down.
Yeah. It's like just do public radio, but in a post-apocalyptic setting. What do you think, Bryan?
And I said, oh, you mean something like an NPRmageddon? And thus the legend was born.
Yeah, I was like, son of a bitch, that's the name. I didn't have the name. Bryan thought, I was thinking about it all afternoon. What could it do? What did it do? And Bryan came up with a title in like 5 seconds.
It's
and
such
then,
a good brand.
It's a really good
Bryan,
title.
my hat is off to you, brother. It is such a good brand. It is so strong. Your logo is great. We're going to go into graphic design territory, but everything you guys have done with it is very intelligent. It's all well marketed. The brand is very well conceived. The name tells you what it is immediately, like Poems for the Dead, American Horrors. You know what I mean? Kill Marvel, Kill Image. It's evocative. And then Bryan, you became the voice of it because your voice is the glue across all 10 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, let me start by saying, like, none of this would have been possible without Peter. Like, I knew him from film school. I mean, that goes without saying, but it's like, I knew that he was a extremely
we all
clever,
like a little dick here and there.
extremely clever filmmaker, extremely clever writer. And I was like, wow, this could actually, like, this could become something because Peter, like, he's a starfish. Once he gets around something, he's not going to let it go.
I'm like a starfish. Yeah, and Bryan used to do like VO for some of my short films, like some of the smaller digital things. So I always really liked Bryan's voice. And I know Bryan also is a giant fan of his own voice. So I thought we could take both of our mutual fandoms of his voice and then apply it for the forces of good instead of evil this time.
Yeah, there was one time where I was like sitting on the shore next to a pond, and I looked down and saw my image, and I was like, God, what a beautiful man.
That's a beautiful man.
And so I was taken by this image, and I wound up turning off. No, there was some hair exposed. About 3 buttons off. Oh yeah. And like I was so smitten with the image that I actually turned to stone. So it was a really interesting experience. I mean, I figured like I'd always been looking for some kind of way to act, to use my voice, not necessarily on camera. And I thought, wow, this is a cool vehicle. And I mean, I'm going to always be available to the two of us, right? Rather than actors who may live in other parts of the country or, so.
Well, you guys had to wait a long time for me to come out and record my parts. That's one of the things that you guys had so much patience. Like, that's the thing about these projects that somebody at home might not understand is these fucking things take the time they need to get there. That classic album, that great omnibus, that fucking great radio play. It took years. I left LA in 2015 and recorded my part with you guys after my wife died in 2018. Jesus Christ, you guys had the patience that you have to have as an artist. That's a thing. Like, hold. It's going to be worth it. And you got it. I mean, 80 different voice actors, and several of these guys are all gone now. Fred Willard, Harlan Ellison. I harassed Harlan Ellison at a Chicago Comic-Con before I realized I was harassing Harlan Ellison. I'm terrible. You guys don't even, this Hart Attack character that you got, you should have met the Boneyard Press maniac in the 90s. Oh my fucking God.
What's your Harlan story? What's your
Harlan Ellison? And I'm going off on this motherfucker in front of my booth. And then it dawns on me, holy shit, Hart, you're harassing Harlan Ellison. But he was laughing and digging it the whole way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Harlan was one of the very first people we recorded among because we thought if we got one big name early, we'd be able to attract other people.
Stat. Sorry guys, I'm getting my rum replacement. Keep going. I'm listening.
Go for it.
No, we got Hart, or we don't got Hart. We got Harlan. And
how did you get Harlan Ellison?
It's funny. One time I was driving in Los Angeles, and I got lost. And I was just driving around trying to get my bearings. I was trying to get to the house of a composer, but it was in the hills. So it's pretty twisty. You can get turned around fairly simple. Yeah. And I saw this house that was just crazy looking. And it said Ellison Wonderland. I was like, oh, I bet that's Harlan Ellison's house.
This is just destiny.
Yeah. So I wrote down the address. I looked it up on Google Maps and I thought, oh yeah, that's Harlan Ellison's house. So I knew where he lived. And so as Bryan and I were talking about who we could get for different parts, it's like, I think we should at least very much ask Harlan Ellison. And I was like, well, how do we get a hold of him? And I was like, I don't know, but I know where he lives. So we wrote a letter and put it on his doorstep. And then later on that day,
I think it was that very day.
That very day, he called me up and he says, all right, let's do it. I'll schedule it. You know, we left the request with the scripts, and Harlan Ellison said, this is the absolute best writing we've ever seen ever. No, he did not say that, but he was really nice. He was a super sweet guy to agree. And this was after he had his stroke. So we were like, I don't know if he's going to say yes or if he can.
Yeah, we were definitely worried. I mean, this was probably less than a year post stroke. So it's like he wasn't making media appearances and is this guy actually going to deliver the goods? Are we going to get a performance out of this? But God bless him. He was awesome.
Yeah, we got to go to Harlan Ellison's house, and it's really weird. We walked in. There was a tiny woman that came out. We saw her once.
I'm going to come at you weird, Peter. I'm going to go, what did his house smell like?
No, his house smelled like books. The place is covered in books.
Old books.
Yeah. It smelled like old paper.
Wall to wall.
Yeah. And there was a tiny woman that I saw for a second. She goes, hello. And then she opens a door that I didn't even see.
It was like a hobbit hole.
A hobbit hole. Really funny. And she scurries in.
His house is very
strange.
Never
saw her again.
Yeah, we never saw her.
And we were there for an afternoon,
Yeah.
And his wife was not happy we were there as long as we were, but she was really nice.
Yeah. She was nice, but she was also I'm free to go.
Yeah, why don't you leave? And Harlan liked to watch me suffer because I was very nervous, and I'm have all this sound equipment, and I'm trying to set up the mics and plug it in or whatever. And he looks over to Bryan and goes, hey, look at him nervous. You see him? He's sweating over there. This isn't going well for him, is it? So I'm just getting heckled by Harlan Ellison.
Yes, yeah.
As I'm trying to set up all my recording equipment.
I got some good heckling too. I was considerably heavier than I am now, and he definitely said next time you go to the
your hair is a lot longer than I remember our recording session in 2018. What happened?
True.
Were you influenced? Were you influenced at all? I don't
actually going to say
conceive of why you'd be influenced at all, Bryan.
I mean, I'm only a quarter of the way to your luscious locks, so we got to trade tips after this. We got to get hair care tips exchanged, but this was pandemic, and then I just let it go, man. I let it ride, but yeah.
Well,
so
I cut my own hair. I cut my own hair because of Danzig.
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting there and I'm editing something for Glenn, and I've been working with Glenn Danzig for 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
And so he's in the office, and he's like, "Hey, you got some scissors?" Sure, here you go, Glenn. And he just starts.
Is that your impression?
That's your impression of Glenn Danzig?
Yep.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
He's Glenn Danzig, like Mickey Mouse.
Hey, can I punch this file cabinet? Yeah, go ahead, Glenn. Bang, 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 bang. Because I had a big metal file cabinet and I was editing something. And when you're working with a high energy person, I think you guys understand this. You're working with a high energy person. And as they get excited, Glenn liked to hit things. And so I had a big beat up metal file cabinet. He asked me, can I hit this? Yeah, go ahead, man. Why not?
Go ahead.
Bang, 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 bang. But then, to me, that was like telling me I was doing a good job.
That's
he was happy. He was excited. He was fucking thrilled. He was happy.
They call that the love language. So Glenn Danzig's love language is violence.
Yeah, that was a love test.
Some of it, yeah. Some of it, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Rock on.
Yeah, but Harlan was super cool. Oh, I just had to get to the part where he called me fat. So I was heavier than I am now, and he said, next time you go to the taco cart,
you weren't that fucking heavy in 2018.
No,
what the fuck, bro?
I wasn't. Like, he was kind of
hits. What happened?
He was roasting us pretty good.
He was. I think it was part of like. When you're attacked by an infamous curmudgeon like Harlan, you're almost just like, oh, this is cool because I'm in the club of like people that he's being mean to because he's
like Don Rickles,
a mean guy. Yeah. If you're insulted by John Rickles, it's like, oh yeah, or Hart Fisher, yeah. But Harlan told me like next time you go to the taco cart, like instead of taking the 3 tacos, just take the 2.
Just take 2. yeah.
So no wonder he responded so well because, doing the comic conventions and doing Boneyard Press, I was insane. I was insane at these fucking shows, and you could only get people to pay attention to your booth if you fucking grabbed them. And so I had the book Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ. And so that would be something I would like get somebody's attention, like Odorous Ungus from Guars walking by the booth on the way to the show at the Fangoria show in 1993. And I go, hey, motherfucker, I've got a book for you. And he's like, yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ. Turns around, comes right back. What book was that? Clive Barker, also Harlan Ellison, same thing. Like, you would hook them with these titles.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And I didn't even realize I was abusing Harlan Ellison until he was laughing. He was laughing the whole time.
Yeah, he can take it. He can
definitely take it.
Yeah.
Thick skin, yeah.
But yeah, but because we had Harlan Ellison, I think it opened up the door for us getting other notable people because people are like, if Harlan Ellison will do it, who do you think was your first star? Like when you guys were doing NPRmageddon, like, okay, we're talking back like 2015, right? Mm-hmm.
That's when you guys were talking to me about my character. Who do you think was your first name that you signed to NPRmageddon? Who was the first
Ellison.
person to jump off the bridge?
Harlan Ellison was the first.
He was probably the second or third person we recorded straight up. Yeah.
And then the second big get was probably Tazon Day, who did Chocolate Rain. He's sort of
I know who he is.
Yeah.
Chocolate Rain.
Yeah, there you go. So we got Tay.
He did our PSAs.
Yeah, and then it's a little bit of a mish. I remember getting Jello Biafra to do
Jello was
pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I gotta say. I love that. I love that you guys got Jello Biafra. I'm a huge Dead Kennedys fan. I love his spoken word. I wish you guys got to get Henry Rollins for the sequel.
I mean, I don't know. No's are free, so we're not against asking anybody.
Yeah,
get Rollins for the sequel. You already have the pedigree to get his attention. I'm a huge fan. When I met Henry Rollins, I was a fanboy. I was the camera boy. I just carried the camera bag. My friend was photographing them on rehearsals with his new band. God, what was it? It was some
Rollins
band from Aaron's Records.
Oh, it wasn't Rollins Band. It was something.
It was Rollins Band, but it was more like Thin Lizzy.
Oh, okay.
And it was the album "Get Some, Go Again," which I love it. It's a Rollins rock album, but I love his poetry. I love all his stuff. I like his stuff. I think he'd be great for NPRmageddon.
Oh yeah, he'd be perfect.
Yeah, well, I would definitely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, one thing Peter is also exceptional at is like getting out there and getting the no's, right? Like you're always going to get some no's, but Peter is very fearless about like the cast, and we got so many cool
you just opened the door, Brian. Okay, man, motherfucker. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. It's 2008. You fucking meet me, Peter. And who had you been interviewing with your connection from USC? John Landis, John Carpenter.
Yeah, John Carpenter.
That was part of what we all talked about, because one of the great things is, okay, for the people at home, most times you get news coverage shows up at the film fest, and they show up and they get their sound bites, and they'll talk to somebody, and they're going to be there for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe a fucking hour, and they're out.
Yep.
But
gone.
American Horrors was different. We were embedded. We were there all day, every day, and you're hanging out, and you're honestly excited about horror. And one of the things I liked about you, Peter, and one of the things that caught my attention was how you did go track down John Landis and use your USC connection to learn. That's what I do with Hart Attack. That's what I do with American Horrors. I bring people on so I could learn from them or advance my career. And I have no problem saying that. So you did that. And I'd like to hear a little bit about your conversations with like John Landis, with Carpenter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like it all started like, because I had the pedigree of USC behind me, and you're paying for it, so you might as well use it. And I had my good friend Donna Thorland had written a letter to a television writer she really liked to be a mentor for her thesis film, and she said yes. And I go, well, if it can work once, why can't it work like 100 times? And so like I got a list of 100 people that I'd love to meet and get to know, and most people just ignore you, and it's totally fine. But what was amazing is who didn't ignore me. And so I ended up having dinner at Musso and Frank's with John Carpenter to give me some advice on
I've eaten at Musso and Frank's.
Yeah, Musso and Frank's was crazy. It was the first time I'd ever been there. And that was a crazy day because on my way driving to Musso and Frank's, I get a call from.
Now, was this the one in Hollywood or the one in Pasadena?
It's the one in Hollywood, the really old one.
Okay.
The one that was in
the one from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
classic. Yeah,
yeah.
classic.
And I felt really cool that day because I'm on my way to like get dinner with John Carpenter, who's going to tell me great advice. And I got a call from Jessica Bendinger, who was the writer of the movie Bring It On, which is like this great cheerleader movie.
Yeah.
And she had called me and goes, oh, I got your letter.
Cheerleader bank robber movie.
Yeah. And I got your letter and I want to, I'll have coffee with you and talk to you about your script if you'd like. And so like, I'm very excited because Jessica Bendinger called me from my letter, but I also have to get her off the phone so I can go and have dinner with John Carpenter.
What a fucking day.
Yeah, it's a weird problem.
I
can't go like
problems, Peter, the problems.
I mean, it was such a great day, and
that's when you're just like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta have lunch with John Carpenter.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's so funny. Like, you don't have many of those days. And so when you're in those moments, you're just like, oh, wow, this is nuts. And John Carpenter was fascinating guy. And before I went and got dinner with John Carpenter, I asked all my friends, oh, what should I do? What should I do? And I had a friend of mine that says, well, whatever you do, you got to offer to buy him dinner. And I was like, I should buy him dinner. Like, yeah, you should at least offer it, right? He'll say no, but it's a good little tactic to do.
No, he's not going to say no.
Yeah. And so like at the end of the dinner, he said some nice stuff. And I was like, all right, so John, dinner's on me. And he looks up at me and goes, you want to buy me dinner? And I'm like, yeah, I really appreciate your time. And, I think it's, I'm going to remember this for a long time. And I just really appreciate you talking to me. So yeah, let me buy you dinner. And he's like, okay. So like, and Musso and Frank's is not a cheap place to eat. That's
not a cheap date. He was not a cheap date.
Fucking steakhouse in LA.
So I bought John Carpenter and myself dinner at Musso and Frank's. He always gets breakfast, so he had like steak and eggs or something.
That's rad.
What did you eat? Cool.
I can't remember. I didn't eat very much because I was nervous.
Did you drink?
No, I'm square. I don't drink. And I just wanted to I wanted to take all of Carpenter in. We talked about The Thing. We talked about all sorts of other movies. And he had a really nice piece of filmmaking advice, which I pass on to other people. He said two things. One thing, he goes, you're going to be on set and you'll be shooting a shot and it just won't be right, but you can't figure out what's the matter. Once you realize you figure out it's wrong, but you don't know why, change the angle and shoot it again. And I was like, okay, because at least give you something to do. And that's pretty useful advice because once you change the angle, you sort of see it differently, and it might knock something loose. Yeah,
it's change your perspective.
Yeah, and that's not so obvious because you're trying to like I should be able to make this work, right? Like, well, you can't, so just move the camera a little bit and take it again. And that's useful advice.
One of the things I really enjoyed about Los Angeles was when you live in Los Angeles and you have this opportunity, like I took my late wife Waka to see the Fog double feature with The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the Egyptian Theater, and John Carpenter did a talk in the middle and answered questions. I seized that moment every chance I could in LA. Like I got to go to the 25th anniversary screening of The Exorcist at Mann's Chinese with William Friedkin. And I'm a Friedkin fan. I love Friedkin as a director. And him as an artist. And so every chance I got to see him in LA, do a Q&A, do a lecture, and to get a chance to shake his hand and talk to him, like John Carpenter at that Egyptian screening with the fog and the thing. My wife was from Japan. She'd never seen this stuff in the theater. And the Q&A in the middle, I got to ask a question. And at a certain point, I went out and I gave the dude a stack of Boneyard Press books.
Oh, good. Yeah, you got to do that move.
I gave that guy a stack of Boneyard Press books.
I did that once with Patton Oswalt was hosting for a week at the New Beverly. They often have like a celebrity do like a week of films that they like. And I had Cheerleaders was done at that point, but I had a DVD. And so I went up to him and I said, like, will you watch my thesis film and give me a quote if you like it? And he was like, yeah, okay. And I thought maybe I'd never hear from him again. But he ended up emailing me. He gave me a quote for my poster. And then he said, oh, can I have a couple extra copies? I want to give one to Joss Whedon. And I was like, yeah, okay. You know, this is like,
sure.
This was before he was like shunned by society. But he was at the height of his power at the moment. And, you know, it's just cool. Like, you really don't have a lot to lose. You don't want to be annoying, but like, you have to be able to risk being annoying, right? Like, you have to do your best to because there's a good way to approach and a bad way to approach.
Because you also don't want to be invisible and never take a swing in life.
Yeah.
You gotta ask. You gotta ask.
And if they say no, you respect it and you leave them be, right? Like,
Yeah.
You know, but I think most people are like open-minded, you know, unless maybe they had a bad day that day and they're not open-minded.
I've run into stuff like in Los Angeles with different people I've known where they felt that it was inappropriate to give your work to these artists that you're working with. But at the same time, how else are you going to share? And you never know when that artist is going to like go, wow, that was pretty cool. I went to a Joe Rogan comedy show at the Ice House in Pasadena, way before the lockdown, before I left town. I went there, and I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and I like his comedy, and I'm also an MMA guy, so what the fuck? So I'm at the Ice House, and my buddy, Steven Nakamoto, cameraman for American Horrors, you probably met him.
Yeah, I think I did.
Little Japanese fella. I was kind of a reward because we'd had a good year, and it's like, dude, let's go do something fun. Let me take you out. Let me take you out for drinks and a comedy show and show you how much I appreciate your work for me. And we went and we did it. And I had Rogan savage me during the Q&A at the end, utterly savage my ass. And then when he was doing the signing at the end, he had a stack of shit next to him. And I asked him, I'm like, are you a horror fan? Do you like horrors? He's like, nah, I don't like horror. But if you listen to his podcast, you know that's bullshit. He's a huge horror fan. And so I dropped off a bunch of shit, and it didn't end up with him. It ended up with his producer.
Jamie?
Yeah, because he's a horror fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's funny how these little moments lead to something else. And you just have to open your mouth. You just have to take a chance. I met Danzig at a comic convention. I saw Glenn going through comic boxes, and I ended up running his comic book company because we got along.
Whoa.
And we shared a love of the comics and the comics he was into. I'm at his house, and we're sitting on his bedroom floor like little kids, and there's comics stacked up all around us. And I go, is that a Kirby on your wall? Is that a Jack Kirby? Holy shit. And he's sitting there going, thank God somebody knows who Jack Kirby is.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's this creative life, and there's all these boundaries that we put up between ourselves that are artificial. But as creators and artists, we all excite each other, and that's what it's really all about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one thing. If you have an ask, I think it's helpful, you know. And my view is, if someone is there like doing a Q&A or something like that, they have signed up to talk to me. They're in the public, right? So that you have signed up to interact with the public.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. You're not at a dinner. I might still talk to you if you're at a dinner, but I'm on a lot shake your ground.
Or
right?
if they're shopping at Whole Foods, maybe you don't want to.
Well, you're on shake your ground. They have every right to go, listen, man, just leave me alone. And you got to respect that, right? But if they say, listen, man, I don't want to talk to you, and they've entered the public arena, I feel like that's more on them, right? Like, And so that's kind of my view. I'd probably still try to talk to somebody in public who's not really, in like a presentational mode, but I would understand that you're breaching something there a little bit.
Doesn't it depend on the vibe? Like you as a human being get a feel like, don't pet the kitty that way. You don't pet the kitty that way. Kitty's upset. Leave the kitty alone. And you kind of learn that. Like, I think that was a value in Hollywood. I had a girlfriend come out, and she was from the Midwest and had not been working in entertainment. And she came out to LA and moved in with me. And we're at 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica.
She told you not to pet the kitty that way?
Oh. I pet
Backwards.
that kitty,
You never
right?
do it in
You need a
reverse.
soundboard, Max.
Santa Monica 3rd Street Promenade. And she goes, man, that guy looks like Kurt Russell. And I looked over and I'm like, April, that's because that is Kurt Russell. And he's just having a conversation with somebody on the street. And that's the joy I had in LA was being one step in the fantasy world and one step in the real world. That's something I really liked about Los Angeles, and I kind of miss it. But I've got that here in Lake Geneva. And now entertainment is so worldwide, we get to really have that almost anywhere we go.
Yeah. And I think one related lesson that Peter and I have learned is like, increase your serendipity, like make your own luck kind of thing. Like get out there, go to events. Like you're not going to meet anybody in your bedroom, right? It's like, you got to get out there and increase the chances that you're going to have these cool interactions. So yeah,
well, that's pretty hard for people nowadays because everyone wants to live in the world on the internet, and
it's easy.
You really
it's a
gotta,
temptation. Yeah,
you really gotta separate yourself from the internet and actually go have a real interaction with somebody to make a real connection.
Yeah,
I just think it's richer.
And
Yeah,
also,
it's just richer.
dare to have a bad connection, like to have shit go wrong. Like that's part of the growth process. Oh man, I ate it on that one. I ate it on that one. Okay, live and learn. I'm going to learn
part of it.
and move
Yeah,
forward.
that's part of it. You're gonna have some. If you're doing it right, you will have some negative reactions just because people are different. And that's just. I think the real failure is to not try. If I went and approached somebody and they just dressed me down because how dare you talk to me or whatever, that would be a better result than me seeing them and just sitting there and chickening out and not trying.
Yeah,
that's the real.
And
failure.
you got to say their loss, right?
Yeah,
their loss.
It's what are you going to do? Like it's.
Well, Peter, have you had when you were doing the casting for NPRmageddon, you and Bryan, did you have anybody like laugh in your face about doing this?
No. We just had people. Most everybody was fairly polite when we got refusals. So they were like, "Oh no, thank you." And then there was one guy that I pressed one more time, but even in the press, I was like, "Listen, I understand this is a press, and after this, I'm really super double cross my heart going to leave you alone. But are you sure? Can I do something?" And the guy was like, "Listen, I appreciate the hustle. I respect the hustle. No, I'm still saying no." And I was like, "All right, cool, that's fine." And I have so much empathy for whenever people reach out to me for stuff. I'm always going to go like, yeah, I'll take a look. I think I'd take a look. I had a few experiences where I just like blew people off, and then they ended up doing something really cool that I said, oh, I probably should have been a little bit more open-minded. And I've had the opposite where I was very open-minded and it didn't work out very well. But I guess I'd rather
DeVill set me up with the band in 3 music videos, and it took me fucking 3 years to get them on American Horrors.
Yeah, it takes a while, but
yeah,
the Vico technique.
Yep.
So every once in a while, I have to endure the Sarge here. Well, if you fucking listen to me. So have you guys had any blowback on NPRmageddon? Has there been anything negative to come back? Like, okay, in comic books, I came back to comics, right? I'm publishing comics again. And what I've been seeing is a lot of like ankle biters, a lot of backbiting, jealous jagoffs online that, I don't know, has that happened to you guys at all with the NPRmageddon project? Because it seems like from what I've seen, especially with the embrace that you got from the NPR world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Peter, maybe you should explain kind of our whole
that.
Twitter phenomenon.
You're marketing with those guys and doing the Mad Max stuff with them. You guys, that was masterful. That was advertising like Blair Witch, masterful in how you handled that. Has there been blowback? Because the show is quite critical, and the show is very Red Dwarf, very Monty Python, very high level. It's not stupid. It's a very intelligent show, and it's challenging.
Yeah, no, we haven't had any blow. I mean, I actually think like having some blowback would be a good sign, because I think once you reach a certain scale, blowback is inevitable. And
what we need is a good arch nemesis. Like, what would the Batman be without Joker, right? Like, we need a good Joker, I think.
Yeah, we should declare war on some other.
So I should invent some sexual abuse tales of you guys sexually abusing me.
Well, let's workshop.
Come out and be
let's
the
workshop
Joker.
I don't know about.
And I should come back and just be this terrible antagonist. Is that what you guys are asking me to do?
That is not what we're asking you to do. The nudes that we asked for earlier are unrelated to that.
Well, it's okay.
Entirely.
The way you touched me when we were recording was fine. That was consensual.
Just cut your hair.
No, we were thinking like a diss track or something. Something along those lines.
Yeah, but no, the reaction has been positive. I think almost
which is pretty surprising, because like you said, like we did kind of accrue this Twitter following, and Peter's been the maestro behind that as far as. We have a Twitter, for people who don't know, where we Photoshop real NPR reporters and other people who work there, not just reporters, but like in post-apocalyptic cosplay and post-apocalyptic settings, and they just love it, right? Like they eat it up. So we're kind of showing them some, So we showed them some love, and we've largely been embraced by that community, despite the fact that, I mean, for me, part of the appeal and interest in NPRmageddon is like NPRmageddon is not NPR, right? Like NPR is cerebral and sort of like very polite and posh, and
but it's also corporate public radio. I've actually had my own interactions with NPR. I was actually set up for an ambush interview on NPR.
Okay. Oh wow! Okay.
In Highland Park, we were dealing with an issue where the original incarnation of Hart Attack. Oh no, we're going to talk politics. Mm-hmm. Oh no. So in Los Angeles, you've got these things that are called no bid contracts. Well, you're not supposed to do that. Government contracts go to the lowest bidder. But if you've got a no bid and you've got a contract where they haven't tagged a price tag on it, so that means the price can keep climbing. And so this got involved with like bicycle lanes, where it started off where they were going to be, God, I'm getting boring, but I'm going to wrap this up quick, because it leads to Hart Attack and leads to what you guys are saying and everything we did in LA.
Follow that road.
Did $45,000 a mile. Then it went up to $65,000 a mile. Then it went up to $85,000 a mile. It was a no bid contract. Hart Attack was deeply involved in this fight and in these neighborhood council meetings and all this crazy shit going down over goddamn bike lanes. But it wasn't bike lanes. It was about corruption and government, and about people putting their fingers in the pie and creating congestion on purpose to force people to go to bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
Weird shit. And I really feel like that's the era that you guys were listening to Hart Attack. And I think that's where my character on your show really came from, was those kinds of episodes and being
when you have like you go on a rant for
the outrage. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah.
But we have pretty good luck with, like, we've been featured on LAist, which used to be called KPCC, which is like the Los Angeles.
Dude, I liked your interview involving the alumni at your university.
Oh yeah.
We got invited by USC to share.
That was pretty cool.
Share a video. Yeah.
And we were on Robin Farzad's
Full Disclosure
Radio, which is out of Virginia. And he it's definitely like
we've been embraced by that community.
Yeah, and so that's just really nice. And like they've been I think that I really like.
But
when
you look
someone
like
gets
a
really
couple
excited.
of clean-cut young boys.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are understanding how subversive this program is.
We're not subversive at
especially
all.
after COVID.
No,
Because, so much of the show had more gravitas after the lockdowns. Because I know you guys have been working on this a long time. And I know you've been recording stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
So much of what came out in NPRmageddon seemed prescient.
Well, NPRmageddon is ultimately, I think, a show about power and how power gets pushed back and forth and the exchange of power. And so, you know, when we lived through a time where like there was a lot of power being, you know,
exercise.
Yeah, just manifested. You know, it's hard not to just like this power sort of behaves. There's soft power, persuasion, and there's hard power, threat of violence, right? And
I'm going to say that some of the sketches we created before the pandemic sort of came true during and after the pandemic.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like you guys gave me scripts beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
doing our Nostradamus shit.
Yeah, I mean, some things like I think the one that strikes me like it seems like a commentary, but it wasn't. Was like we have a sketch where like we have like a guy that's tearing down statues. And I remember like tearing down statues became kind of really in vogue. Now, when we were writing about it, we were thinking about like statues of Lenin during like in the old Soviet place.
Yeah.
You know, they were tear down or Saddam Hussein, right? And then
then all the Robert E. Lee statues came down and stuff,
and
like
then,
all the Confederate like backlash. And that we wrote and recorded that stuff well before, but it seemed like we were commenting on those statues.
I know. When it came out, like, okay, for your promos that ran on American Horrors, I love them. They're so awesome. But they seemed like they were commenting on what was happening. And I knew since I was inside behind the curtain with you guys and recording my role in 2018, I knew stuff. And that's why I was like, holy shit, this really nailed so much of it, especially the promos.
Oh, well, cool. Yeah, I mean, like the promos. Yeah, it's good to hear.
We like the
thank you again for like showing those promos. I'm sure like
because
we got in England, we were very recently.
You cocksuckers, I gave you thousands of dollars of free advertising.
No,
because I love you so much.
Don't hurt us.
Brian,
Don't hurt us hard.
Peter, I love you jagoffs. You goddamn jagoffs. You're brilliant. You're fantastic. And this is how you support creators. And this is how you make something awesome happen.
Yeah, so we last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? We reached number 40.
Just last week.
Last week on the UK
comedy fiction
podcast charts, according to Chartable.
Yeah, I mean we've been as high as like top 25 and just like the US fiction charts, I think. So
also
Germany. It's been a cool ride.
Yeah, no, in Germany, like we've been. I mean, Ukraine.
The Germans.
We were number 3 in Ukraine for a while. You know.
Yeah.
And I always got to tweak your nipples every fucking time. You fucking jagoffs. You fucking jagoffs. Every time I'm like, how could we big in Germany? Oh, because I'm advertising the fuck out of you on American Horrors, and it's in Germany, and they love us in Germany, and they love us in the UK because we're not woke.
No, I mean, I think you're right. That I think the only way that they really could have heard us.
Hold on, I need more rum.
Yeah, no, I'm crediting American Horrors for like 100% of that. Yeah, thank you so much.
And you have a great product. Like if the product wasn't there, it wouldn't matter if your promo was on American Horrors or not. But the fact that you made something amazing and we teamed up together and we worked together, we were able to like really do something cool. And that's it. That's me and Max. That's me and you. That's the real shit.
Yeah, like
not this Marvel comic book. The Marvels are coming out. We're all doing stuff that excites us. Like I was excited to be part of your project. Like it was exciting. I couldn't wait to record my role for you guys. And I was like thrilled that you thought of me.
Yeah, well, like I remember when you first listened to it, I think you were like, it's pretty good. And I think as you kept listening to it, I think you ended up liking it more as it went. Is that fair to say?
Well, you mean like when it finally was released?
Yeah, when it was finally released.
Well, I couldn't really conceive of it because I had my recording in like a day.
Right.
For multiple episodes. So I want to do the best job I could do while I was there in Los Angeles with you guys. Thank you for supplying the vodka and lemonade.
Yeah.
we did have some of that on hand.
Oh yeah,
it may have greased the wheels a little bit.
Greased them a little bit, and you guys fed me, and it's really exciting to work with good stuff like with Max. His thing with the Grindhouse channel, a lot of people don't know that we teamed up on a TV series for American Horrors. It was a double feature thing, and that's a big thrill of what we get to do as artists. Okay, as creators, we get together and do really cool shit. I'm not a fan of all the social media shit talking. It's boring, it's lame, and that's what people with no talent do. So all those people shit talking on the internet, you got no talent, and you're showing me you got no talent. Go make the movie. And that's what we do. We all get to team up and be in this. And I know I died in episode 10, but I want to come back.
Spoiler alert, Hart. Oh my God.
I have an idea we've been kicking around because we're writing more episodes right now. And we're going to have an episode that'll hopefully come out during Christmas. That'll just be a smaller kind of special report just to kind of keep things. Very nice.
There we go. Thank you.
I don't like that it covers my face. But
don't cover his pretty face.
Don't cover the money maker.
Well, you got the money maker right here, man. I don't want to cover that shit up.
It's my money. It's my money.
But I have some ideas for the Hart Fisher character moving forward.
Hart Fisher may survive. So
yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah, I think
in some form or another.
I gotta come back.
But yeah, no, it's been super fun, and I think the name of the game is you want to make cool stuff with cool people. That's why that's the reward for a lot of this.
And I think as far as as independent creators, like all of us here, you have to hustle, right? You have to be your own marketing man, and we couldn't do that if we didn't believe in the material, right? And we just think that the show is damn good.
Yeah,
so
we really like our show.
We are not bashful about being you should listen to this fucking show because it's pretty fucking good.
There's something I see a lot of artists do where they use a lot of self-deprecation, or they're like, oh, my stuff's not all that good or whatever. Now that'll work if you're Conan O'Brien and you are at the height of your powers, and then go, oh yeah, I suck, I'm terrible, watch me tonight at 11, right? And I think some people take on this idea that oh, I should do this kind of false modesty kind of pose.
Yeah, listen to our little show if you want to.
It's a little stupid show. Go ahead,
it's just a stupid show.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe you like it, maybe you won't. I'll see people do that all the time.
That's the wrong attitude.
Drives me crazy.
I was there when I was young. I'm not young. I'm 54. I mean, I was there when I first launched Boneyard Press. I was very humble. I didn't really know what I had. I was very insecure about my work. I didn't really believe in my art. I was so critical of my work back then. And so as you go through this journey and you start to have other people validate your work, and you get to work with these people that you really respect, and you're like, holy shit, I can't believe Gene the Bell just choked me out. Holy fucking shit. It's this thing that happens, and it builds your confidence, and it builds your team, and it builds your network. And you want to avoid the cocaine. Avoid the cocaine. Avoid the cocaine.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I would say avoid the hard drugs, ladies and gentlemen, and focus on the fun. Why am I doing Hart Attack again? Because I wanted to talk to you guys. That's why I'm doing it. I wanted to do this with Max. I wanted to do this with you guys. It's why you guys are on the first episode of the new Hart Attack, because my role in NPRmageddon was influenced by that radio show.
Absolutely,
so it seems like a perfect circle.
Yep.
And Peter, I've been a fan of your work since 2008, and I've been looking for ways to work with you. And it's been interesting to see how Bryan came on the team. I still don't know how this long-haired hippie son of a bitch got on the team. Where did you get this hippie faggot? Where did this fucking guy come from?
Damn. Woo. Well, you're from St. Louis originally.
I am. Yeah.
Uh-oh, St. Louis. Look out.
Midwestern.
Boneyard bitches are from St. Louis.
It's on the other side of the state from me. I'm in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I grew up in St. Charles, outside of St. Louis. Yeah.
Okay.
Midwestern.
Okay.
You're from Kansas City, Max?
Yeah.
I heard they have some pretty little women out there. Is that true?
Don't you guys fucking get my sergeant fired up. He's you be careful. That man's a dark man. You be careful.
I'm pretty excited to check out his comic book.
I'm sorry, Max, but dude, you guys be careful. There was a whole thing. Okay, my buddy Trike, the Hobbit. We were talking about Hobbits earlier. Trike has just moved his comic book shop out of downtown Lake Geneva into Delavan in a really great new location right here in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And this weekend, right now, is a swingers conference is happening, and they're papering over all the windows, and there's biker chicks showing up, and it's getting crazy. And we kept joking about, like, we got to unleash Max in this thing. Because me and Max were joking, like, we got to do a signing of Hart Fisher and Boneyard Press and Sister Mary Machine Gun and his Atrocity Press. We need to do a signing at his store for the grand opening during this swingers convention in this hotel, because I know what a terrible, terrible man Max DeVill is. You hear that laugh? You hear that laugh? 100 milligram Viagra, fuckers. 100 milligram. You better run. You better hide. You're in trouble. It's darkness personified.
We should go. You should. Okay, that's the whole fist.
I was expecting the two fingers. I got
the whole fist.
Nope, we go all the way.
What's wrong with a kiss? Just start with a kiss. What, do you have to go full fist automatically?
No, Max Hardcore was my buddy. Max Hardcore met my mom. Man, dude, when Max Hardcore met my mother, my brother and I were on top, like, you say one wrong thing, I'm going to kill you, Max. But he was a gentleman through and through, which nobody thinks of the late, great Max Hardcore as a gentleman with his misogynist, choke you, urinate in your butthole, fucking crazy porno. But that's the darkness you get with Max DeVill.
Is that right, Max?
Understood.
Understood. I don't pee in people's buttholes. No.
I have standards, sir.
Yep, I do.
No, his darkness is way more psychological. That's splash time at the pool.
That's child's play.
Yeah. I'm not really into waterworks as such, but to each their own. I don't judge you, Max.
Are you engaged in are you married? You got a girlfriend, Peter?
Oh yeah, I got a girlfriend, and Bryan is married.
I am happily married.
And Bryan,
how long have you been married?
I've been married 2 years, just about 2 years.
And how long were you with your bride before you got married?
I've probably known her about 7 years. So she is from Beijing, China. So she's
nice.
She's Chinese. Yeah, we
Little
started with
Asian.
we started a long distance relationship and never looked back.
Yeah, and she's going to be in the Christmas episode of NPRmageddon. We've got her behind the mic. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
tell me about the Christmas NPRmageddon.
The Christmas NPRmageddon. It's called Holiday Magic, and it's about two wizards that go to war with each other, and they harness holiday magic in order to
battle each other.
Right. That's the tease.
Yeah.
And we have seen Violent Night.
I have seen Violent Night. That's pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun
Max,
movie.
have you seen that?
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
That was fun.
I'm a bigger fan of what was the Santa Claus slasher film that was so good?
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yeah.
That's like the 80s.
I know, that's really good though, man. That's a good flick.
Isn't that the one with Linnea Quigley impaled on elk horns?
Yep, that's the one. Yeah. The best part is the scene right after that, where is it right after or right before, where the killer gives this little girl a bloody box cutter, and she's all excited because it's gonna be a Christmas gift, and then she gets it and she gets this great look like, what the hell did you just give me? Love Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Well, you're leading us back now to the next topic of the show, because we gave you the glory hole moment of talking about yourself for over an hour. Let's talk about Halloween, because this is going to air on American Horrors on Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
What does Halloween mean to you, Bryan?
Oh, wow. I mean, as you could tell from the show, listeners of the show, I love horror. This is a very special time for me. We're we're actually going to be marching, if you want to call it that, in the West Hollywood, the famous West Hollywood Halloween parade that has been on hiatus.
Fun, man, I partied there. I've got all these great photographs of me with the cops in West Hollywood. Good photographs, not bad photographs. I was the ringmaster and had a whip and had the big top hat.
Okay. One of my probably most favorite picture of myself I've ever taken is like one time maybe about 5-6 years ago, I dressed as the devil. Like I got my red pajamas and my little horns and marched in the West Hollywood parade. And there's always like the religious fundamentalists like protesting this because they associate.
I never saw those guys. I partied in West Hollywood lots of times.
Oh no, they had the signs. They had like the die faggot kind of like signs. And
I never saw those.
We took a picture of me like with these guys in the background and me smoking an entire cigar in my devil costume. It's like fuck you guys kind of thing. Like it was pretty baller. But we love the West Hollywood parade, and they've been on a hiatus because of COVID for like 3 or even 4 years. So this is the first time they're going to return to it. So I can't wait for that.
Wow.
Bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I left LA in 2015, but I was down there for that West Hollywood crazy, insane Halloween party. And here's the funny part. You said devil. That's a character I do all the time. It's called Chubby Satan. And I've got red tights and it's a horrible like Star Trek devil outfit. And I'm wearing a Ronald Reagan rubber mask over my face with the hood pulled over it. And I'm impersonating my father the whole time.
Can you give us
How's
a
that dick
sample?
taste? Tastes like your ass, bitch. It's in This Cunt's For You. And it's in I Sold My Soul for Anal. And I went on a rampage on Halloween night through Bar Sinister as the character, terrifying everybody in the bar.
Oh wow, that's legendary.
Impersonating my father the whole time. I'm impersonating my father. Hey. It's hilarious. Dry humping my friends in the back of taxi cabs. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Would your dad do that too? Is that part of the impression?
Was that method?
Was that yeah.
Oh yeah, I was totally impersonating my father the whole fucking time. I was totally impersonating my father the whole time. He passed in 2004, so he did not. But that was a thing we did when we were younger. Like my dad was funny. My father looked like Chuck Norris if he had a bad perm and never did karate in his life and smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. That's my pop. And so my old man, we would all impersonate him. We'd all stand around him like, I don't sound like that. Yeah, you do. You sound like that because he smokes 3 packs a day. He's like Max here. He's got his fucking Coca-Cola. My old man used to drink Coca-Cola just like goddamn Max does. Only was Pepsi. 8 bottles at a time. Always with the cigarette. 3 packs a day. Hey, man, how many packs a day are you smoking right now, buddy?
2.
Not a fistful of cigarettes?
A fistful of cigarettes.
Yo, show them in the background. There's going to be a pile of empty Coca-Cola fucking boxes because Max is addicted to soda pop just like my dad was.
Have you ever had like a Mexican Coca-Cola, Max?
I have.
What do you think?
They're good with the real
They're all
thing,
right. Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah,
they're the best.
They're not bad.
You can get them in the Jewish stores too.
Yeah, I really liked when I lived in Germany, when I was in the army, I really liked the German Coca-Cola because it was like there was more carbonation in it.
Okay.
Than there was in the States. So it like stayed carbonated longer. So you could like leave it out. That's why I hate Pepsi, because you put it out for 10 minutes and it goes flat.
Do you have an opinion on Fanta? When I was in Germany, everybody loved Fanta.
Oh, Fanta was a big deal when I was over there.
Yeah.
Do you remember Mezzo Mix?
I don't think I know Mezzo. Was that the cereal, or was that something else?
It's like tea and soda mixed together. It's disgusting.
I didn't try that. No.
It is disgusting. But it was a huge thing when I was living over there. It was Mezzo Mix. All the Germans loved it.
We probably didn't talk about Max's war experience. Max is a sergeant from the Army. He's an Iraq war veteran. And he likes to leave his goddamn pizza out on the counter. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You fought a desert war. That's how I know you did. You can't leave pizza out on the counter, motherfucker.
Yeah, you can. It's fine. it'll be
Oh,
fine.
you can
It's
leave that
all-
out till morning. Yeah,
Yep, until the next day, and then you grab it in the morning for breakfast.
that's breakfast.
It's
yeah.
room
Peter,
temperature
I'm
pizza.
thinking for the next NPRmageddon, that guy.
You're pointing the wrong way. There you go. There you go.
There we go. that fucking guy.
Okay, I'm down.
Sure, I'll do it.
We'll have to figure
So
out.
we still don't know how you ended up like with Bryan, like doing this. Like we still don't know. I asked this before. Like, how did you guys hook up?
Oh, we met at film
Now,
school.
I know that sounds like gay porn, but how did you guys get together creatively?
No,
Not your love affair.
We were both in the same first class at USC Film School, so we both went. We're both
Yeah. And then we ran into each other at a swingers conference. It was like, oh wow.
And I was like,
this is interesting.
And I was like, have you met Max? give him a Coca-Cola. He'll give you 2 fingers.
He fished for cigarettes.
He fished for cigarettes.
I fish for free. The cigarettes are just.
Is that Glenn Danzig over there? Oh my God.
Glenn wants to punch you. Is that okay?
Is that okay?
He's just high energy. Don't worry about it.
That's how you know he likes you.
We're bringing it all full circle.
Now let me tell you about bike lanes. No, we met at USC Film School, and
we lived near campus, so we were hanging out a lot.
We were hanging out a lot. I didn't have a car like the first year of film school. Did you have a car?
Yeah, I had my hatchback.
All right, so that was helpful. But like, yeah, and
So
in
you
film
guys
school,
were buddies when I met you in 2008.
absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Bryan was.
I just didn't meet him because you were there for cheerleaders. You were there
Right.
for the screening of cheerleaders.
Which I first AD.
Yeah, Bryan
I
was the
first
first
AD. I was the assistant director.
And I
Did you work on the Lethal Lip stuff?
He didn't work on that, but he knows the objects now. Like,
Yes,
but I did sound for his thesis film. I did production sound, and he did a thesis film that was like a science fiction, like kind of kid science fiction thing. And he did the voice. They had a little alien puppet, and Bryan did the voice of that puppet. So that's how I knew like Bryan really liked the sound of his own voice, which I also like quite a bit.
As I understand, that was
saying that, Peter, and it's not fair because I'm totally in love with the sound of my own voice, and I feel like you're backhand slapping me.
I like the sound of your voice too, Hart. I think you have a very nice voice. I like your dad impression.
Yeah. Maybe we need
Dude,
to bring
I
you
love
back
whip
to
out, "Hey,
NPR
Bryan,
again
you
with
do
the
this?"
dad
Like,
voice.
okay, I'm out at the store, and I will whip out announcer voice. Do you want 63 cents or $1.99? I've got both in my pocket. Which one do you want?
Well, I don't think that your NPRmageddon voice is that different.
It's a little different. I'll bust out an occasional like, this is NPRmageddon. I am Bryan Garcia McMillan Keithley. Like, there's a little bit different, right? There's a little
Bryan,
bit
I do it all the time, dude. I'm like, hi, I'm Hart Fisher from American Horrors. All day, all night, all horror, all American Horrors. How are you today? Do you like scary movies?
Yeah, there's a little bravado in my character, Bryan. A little Bill O'Reilly, a little something. So he's a little more forceful.
You're
Most of my
dialed
voice.
down. That Hart Fisher voice is over the top. Yours is like the bedrock of NPRmageddon. You're the bedrock. You're calm. You don't ever get out of sorts. You are calm the whole NPRmageddon, no matter what happens, no matter how gay porn it goes. Hi, I'm Bryan. And you're really solid with your character on NPRmageddon. And I think that that's part of what holds the comedy together is you're kind of like, you're the baseline. And I don't know if that sounds bad, but it's the truth. You're rock solid all the way through the radio play. And so your voice is the anchor of all these other voices like myself and Q and everybody else. But you're the anchor. You are the anchor all the way through. And you did a great job, Bryan. I got to tell you, man, hats off from one voiceover artist to another.
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. We had to have me as like you said, kind of the bedrock, so that if everyone played a larger than life, hugely extreme character, it's just noise, right? Like you got to bring it back. You got to have that contrast.
Yeah, it's big on
so
contrast.
hopefully we sort of achieve that.
Yes, I'm just holding my arm out off camera and expecting magically there to be more rum and coke delivered.
Yeah, I don't have
Magically.
that luxury. I don't have that luxury, so
Magic.
I shall be right back.
All right, so tell me now that Max is gone, what do you really think of Max?
Oh, I love him. I fucking love Max. Max is the best. It's kind of funny because, you know, when you're a big personality like I am, I'm a big personality. I got a big fucking mouth. So my buddies all love it when Max comes out and will be like, maybe if you shut the fuck up once in a while, listen to what the fuck I'm saying and do what the fuck I say. They love it.
That's your Max impression?
Yep.
No, my Max impression is very different.
That's a terrible Max impression. He's
That's
got like a
not
much more
my
bass.
Max impression.
All right, okay. What's your Max impression?
It's more
My
Hank
Max
Hill.
impression is Hank Hill from King of the Hill if he shot a motherfucker in the face.
Okay.
Because I'm about propane products until you got to use them to blow a motherfucker up.
So how did you and
we
Max?
have a thing here with Max. We have top 10 Maxisms. And one of my favorites in the top 10 is he's choking a guy out in a street fight. He's got this guy, he's choking him out, and his lips are behind his ear, and the guy's tapping out on his arm. This ain't the dojo, motherfucker. You're gonna die. Now that is a Max DeVill impersonation by Hart Fisher.
Oh wow. Okay. Now I'm getting it. Yeah.
Still a little higher in register though, don't you think?
Yeah.
This ain't the dojo, motherfucker. You're gonna die.
Say the dojo,
That's a favorite of
motherfucker, you're gonna die.
That's a favorite. Then there's the other one where he got into an altercation with a bunch of BLM assholes at a fucking Walmart. And he fucking these fucking assholes give him shit about his goddamn purple heart and shit, and they go at him, and it goes through shit, and people get their faces bounced off of stop signs, and people get choked the fuck out, and the police are called. And my favorite part is, "Sir, are you armed?" "Am I armed?" "Hell yeah, I'm armed. I got a 1911 fucking hell yeah, I'm armed. I got 4 different guns on me." That is so fucking funny. Oh my God. In fact, Max, would you please tell this story on the show about your altercation at Walmart with these peacenik assholes that assaulted you over your Purple Heart, please?
Oh wow.
You don't have to. You don't have to tell them.
No, I mean,
Well,
it wasn't.
I'd like it if you would.
It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, like I had Purple Heart plates, and we were leaving I was leaving Walmart, and there was just it was during the whole big BLM when it was all huge and there was protests everywhere, and they all started giving me shit, and this littler guy comes up there and just really starts getting in my face and start pushing me around and tries to swing on me. So
and Max is 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah,
He's 6'4".
And I block it and just dot his eye, knock him out, and everybody starts screaming and throwing a fit, and then the police show up and they're like, "Do you have any weapons or anything I should know about?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've got a 1911 in my back."
Full disclosure.
Yeah, they're like, "You didn't use it?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't need to."
Okay, that's bad.
That's a pretty hardcore story.
Yeah.
And he's downplaying it. There's more here. Look at his face.
And
Look
then
at
he
his
drank
fucking
a
face.
Coca-Cola.
He's downplaying it. There are other gentlemen that he had to fucking handle.
Yeah.
And he won't. He's
I
kind of
know
like Gene LaBelle. Gene LaBelle did not like to talk his own praises.
It's not really my way of doing things. You know, I'll tell the story occasionally, but that was the gist of it. I mean, there was other people that did get involved because, you know, whenever you fight like a group of people, they're going to start jumping in.
Mm-hmm.
And I handled it. I handled it well. I mean, it was
You were so underselling this, you fucking bastard.
It was
you son of a bitch. You are really castrating your own
I'm
story.
sensing very like
Someday
man
I'm
a
gonna
few
tell
words.
this story for you the way you told me for real off camera.
All right, go ahead.
You know, I'm going to tell that goddamn story, you son of a bitch. But that's part of Hart Attack and Hart Fisher and like Gene the Bell and Gene the Bell, world judo champ guy, did not like to sing his own praises the same way Max doesn't like to sing his own praises. It's kind of my job. But I got no problem singing my own praises.
Yeah.
So guys, what's going on with the comic book?
Well, we got a comic book coming out. Hopefully by the end of the year. Jeffrey Peterson, who is in NPRmageddon, he's one of our voice actors.
Who is an absolute chameleon. I mean, he played many different parts, and you just can't tell.
You can't tell. He's very good at.
Dude, he's funny.
Yeah,
I like him. I like his stuff. I think he's the perfect guy to do the comic book.
And he's also a stand-up comic who also makes comic books. He's known as the 420 comic around Las Vegas. So he does a lot of weed humor, and he's been, I think, for the last decade, been doing kind of like the old school underground comic through head shops kind of thing, you know, of that style. So he would have his comic books that were most of them, I think all of them up until a point, were kind of weed related. And then
oh no, not that.
Yeah. And
made on hemp paper. No, I'm just
not that. But like printed on newsprint. So he made newsprint comics, which is pretty cool. Like you don't see a whole lot of those.
Newsprint is the way to go. Newsprint is really good. It's affordable. It's easy to ship. It's got that classic vibe. It has a certain feel in your fingers. No, newsprint.
Yeah, but you got to print it differently. You do. You
can't do the super duper computer coloring.
No,
on the heavy duty stock, which is what Max does with his comic company.
Sure. Like I think that the difference of paper really has changed, like the printing in general. I think the technology has really shifted. And Jeff does a really kind of very much an old school. He used to be an animator for the old X-Men cartoon. He used to so he has some art experience.
The old 97 X-Men cartoon?
Yeah. He used to do, I think his main thing, he did mouth match movements, which is like a very technical kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he draws his own comic books, and they're mostly weed comics with like little weed superheroes and stuff. And
I've been checking out his stuff. I'm excited to see what he does with NPRmageddon and bring in that Cheech and Chong attitude.
Yeah, it'll be really.
We are too, as it happens. Yeah,
because Jeff asked if we'd be up for him to do this, and we were like, yeah, go ahead, but like we're gonna be hands off.
Our directive was like we'd like to be surprised with what you do with it, because like he's a fan of the show and he knows all the characters, so it's like we're interested in another person telling a story in our universe and just like absorbing it as a reader, right?
Well,
so
don't you feel that way, Max? Max was a comic fan for a long time, right? So Max was a fan of like what I did as a kid, and now he's a publisher, and so he has a whole group of people. And I think, right, isn't it exciting to see what people do with your characters?
Oh, of course. You know, I mean, just whenever anybody does anything with your characters, like when I get fan art, that just makes my day. You know, I mean,
yeah, I dig it. The thing I liked about Boneyard Press and like, let's say my character Bill the Bull, it was really interesting to see the way each artist would recreate your character in their own vision, and I liked it. I really dug it. I like to see where their creativity took the character, and so I never adhered to he's got to look like this. He's 7 feet tall. He's 250 pounds. You know what I mean? Like I didn't care. I wanted to see what the artist brought back.
We get very specific about like her armor and her sword and different things.
You're talking about Mary Machine Gun?
Yeah, her eye color. You know, we've got specifics like her hair's blonde, her eyes are green, her armor looks like this. This is what her sword looks like, and this is her rifle. You know, here's the references. Make sure it looks like that because that is the core and the essence of the character.
Right.
After that, they can make it look however they want to, as long as it follows the general outline.
Well, Peter and Bryan, have you guys like completely unleashed Jeff to do whatever he wants with the characters, or are you involved?
We are, in so much that we're involved. We just told him, we gave him access to like all the art that we've already created for the show, so he could have some reference. and just know what people look like.
And the transcripts.
And
of the
we
show.
gave him all the transcripts of the show.
Yeah.
And I don't know really what to expect. I think it's going to be.
No, and I don't think we were very interested in, like, what's our canon? It's like we just want to see something fun, and so we can't wait to see it.
Yeah, but I think Jeff is like kind of he's been making his own comics for like 10 years. Just stay out of his way and see what he can do. This is like your only shot. If I start going
Dude,
in,
stand-up is funny. I've watched his stand-up. He's funny.
He's a funny guy, and he really, really likes the show. I think he gets the show, and I'm sure there will be parts that I will be pleasantly surprised by. And just letting it filter through his own brain.
No, he's a super creative guy. He's a brilliant impressionist. I mean, like, he does some awesome stuff. He does a brief in one of our sketches. He does a brief character that is not Donald Trump, but certainly sounds a lot like Donald Trump. And it's like, God damn, you do that so well.
Yeah, he does like some he like some almost Gary Busey.
Almost Gary Busey. Yeah.
I mean, he can do these impressions straight on the money as well. Yeah. But like, you don't want to you're not really making any sort of statement. You just like the voice, but yeah, like we're just letting him do whatever, like I think the only, if we're going to check it for spelling, but outside of that, like what he comes up with is going to be, because I feel like my hope is you give him enough freedom, and then he'll feel free to do something that I would never think about.
I mean, like whenever I hire somebody to do comics for me, my scripts are very they're sparse. They're not real specific, because I hire an artist for their creativity.
Right.
I mean, number one, I hire them because they're good at what they do, but two, it's for their creativity. I want them to choose kind of how they think that the camera angle should be, and I'll tell them it's a posh room, but I won't say, there's a divan with a gold trim and black velvet and blah blah blah. I won't go that deep into it, because there's really no point, because the artist is going to draw what they want to draw.
A lot of times, Max, when I'm writing comic scripts, they're almost like a screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
I give certain lighting direction, and I break it down by action.
Yep.
Okay. Action, dialogue. Action, dialogue.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I break down a comic book script, and especially if you get to work with an artist that you trust, and it's exciting to see what they're going to come back with the script with. I want them to contribute their talent.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the joy for me, is seeing them come back with what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say to you guys, Peter and Bryan, have you had any kind of feedback from, you've been doing this for a long time, have you had any feedback from mainstream media, from movie studios or anything like that? Like, I could totally see this as a TV series, an animated series. I could totally see this. This is a definite brand.
Well, I mean, what's unfortunate is, halfway through the run, the writer's strike started, and so that kind of just shut everything down. It only recently unstruck. And then, basically once Thanksgiving hits, the whole town shuts down again. So
I know.
So so that's been a bit of a bummer, but timing has just never been really on our side.
I think it's interesting to note that we had this in the can probably in 2020, but it's like we just didn't want to release it during the worst of COVID-19. It just didn't seem like the right time, so we sat on it for a little bit.
Well, it wouldn't have worked. And also, I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, I think that I demanded from you guys commercials for the network. I made you guys come up with visual stuff that you weren't really thinking about.
Sure.
And we had conversations amongst ourselves, like, how can we promote this on American Horrors? And I was really adamant, like, hey, I want this on the network. And we went back and forth on how to make it work, and it evolved. If you look at the promos from episode 1 to episode 10 and the Channel 101 promo, they had a really interesting evolution. and added to the radio play, I felt.
Yeah, I think so. Like it's fun. Like we featured Lejean, one of our actors, an awful lot in the.
Oh, he's awesome.
And he's just a gnarly looking.
Lejean, wherever you are, dude, if you see this, you rule, dude.
We love Lejean.
Yeah,
he's a family.
He's
member.
awesome.
And then the camera just really loves him. Like we shot one promo where like we went down to Hollywood Boulevard, and we put a camera on Lejean. It was sort of chaotic because Lejean was screaming at the top of his lungs.
He was acting as President Skogor.
And
oh
so,
my God!
So he was going around like.
Was that at Man's Chinese Theater?
Yeah, Man's Chinese Theater.
Yeah, he had the boom box and it's just like yelling at the top of his lungs, like "Listen to NPRmageddon!"
Right, and like we put that in some of the promos, like NPRmageddon, the greatest podcast in the world, and
it works.
Well, he's wild. He's a wild looking fella. And like, I mean, people were a little nervous.
We love his chaotic energy though. Like, and it's just like, it was important to us as we assembled the cast to be like, we want some crazy people. We want some super intelligent.
No, to
people.
me, Lejean is like the guy I want to hang out with and have beers because I'm an insane person.
Yeah, no, Lejean is a good hang,
but he's crazy like the Hart Fisher character is crazy.
Oh yeah, his character in NPRmageddon.
Oh, he's nuts and murderous and violent and
like he's sort of like I think like Lenin was sort of the inspiration for his character, like a Lenin Stalin.
Is that
like,
the anti-literacy campaign thing?
Yeah. Stuff like like just like whatever sort of like violent despot. We would like you do one piece of that and then like let Lejean go on it and add his own kind of uniqueness to it, and it creates like this very likable person who's doing horrible things.
Or just the like the 1984 2 + 2 = 5 kind of thing of like calling the ear mouse the national bird. It's like, here's our new reality, right?
Yeah. but yeah, and I don't think we like promos, like to do visual promos for a podcast. Like it's kind of hard. Like everything is still sort of up in the air. What the best practices.
You got to have that vision, and Hart had that
you
vision.
Guys flounder. I really did. I enjoyed watching you guys figure your visual component out with the commercials, because if American Horrors wasn't there, you wouldn't have done it.
No, probably not. No,
I fucking know. I fucking know you wouldn't have. Because you wouldn't have had a reason to. And the web wouldn't give you the format. And also you knew what the audience of American Horrors was. Because we'd already had a relationship. You already understood a little bit about American Horrors. So you were able to cater a visual commercial. And it took a little toe pulling. It took a bit for me to get you to commit to it. But I think once you got into it, God, you guys nailed it, and you got better every fucking commercial. And it's everything I expected out of you, Peter, since I met you in 2008. You've gotten better every iteration. You grow, you're smart, you're on top of shit. And those commercials, they're good.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good promos. I really... they're
I think we kind of found our visual voice along the way. Like we had found the sort of audio voice, but like, here's the visual voice.
I'm here to tell you guys, I have the channel on all the time. You don't understand. You do not have American Horrors on in your house all the time. I could tell you what it's like to hear these promos on every commercial break. NPRmageddon coming up on season 3. You know what I mean? Like, you guys don't have that experience, but I do. And I could tell you, it really added up to something. You did better on every fucking promo. And it didn't get old. It didn't get old on the network. And that's why, as I relaunched the channel, and even though we did all the episodes and they're all out there, I'm running all the promos from episode 1.
Cool.
Oh, well, thank you.
No, that's what I'm doing. I'm running all the promos in order because
I remember
an entertainment value in the promos.
I remember a conversation that we had, like I think by the 3rd episode, you're like, I really like that you guys are listening to me. and it's working because you're listening to me. Because I don't always listen to, and I like it when people listen to me. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just keep listening to it because it seems to work.
No, we knew
yeah.
We know who to listen to and why. So,
yeah. So like, but I thought like that's so.
I
funny
was not fishing for that compliment. Thank you so much. Because it's a thing. Like, okay, like let's say me talking about Glenn Danzig, right? Glenn's older than I am. And so Glenn gave me a lot of really good advice. And that's what I was getting to when you tracked down John Carpenter, John Landis, and you had these conversations with these veterans, and you were open, you were listening. And that's been my experience with, like, let's say Danzig. And so Glenn has allowed me to air uncut shit that nobody else has. And we see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. And so we get to grow together and we get to appreciate each other. And I think that's really missing from the let's fight with each other on social media bullshit, is the people that are loving what they're doing. I love what you guys do. I was so happy to be part of this. That's why I'm like, you got bastards, you gotta bring me back from the dead. I'm coming back. I'm coming back, you sons of bitches.
I have an idea.
I think life will find a way.
It's part of that joy, and also working with Max and all these different other creators. It's lovely.
That's the beauty of fiction. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. But we help each other out. We like team up together. And so I feel that your promos, the NPRmageddon promos, are important on the network because they're part of the flavor. You don't see them anywhere else. They're not on any other fucking channel. They're not.
Yeah, that's true.
That's original content. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. And I think
it, like you mentioned before, Hart, like the ear mouse logo is kind of important to the vibe, right? Like, and that was its own, process that we went through to sort of refine, what's our look, right? And we have this great creature in the show that kind of emerges like, oh, that kind of says a lot about our vibe and about our story and about our universe. And I think that was also like a big part of the visual language.
Yeah, I think iconography is huge, right? Like, and like if you look at something
doing
like
that with Max, I mean, you guys don't get to see the channel enough, but Max has a bunch of promos for his comic book company and his characters, and he has his own unique way of seeing it and his own unique creativity, and you don't see it on corporate TV. It's very unique. So the promos for Atrocity Press are really unique and awesome, entertaining. We had a bunch of stuff from Mike Barron on for Private American and Bronze Star, and his shit was very unique and awesome. And then your promos for NPRmageddon are so awesome. And I feel that adds to what makes American Horrors awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, if you're going to do an independent network, having like independent commercials on it is very complimentary, especially if they're, I mean, like hopefully they have to be of a certain quality, right? You don't want
they're creative in a way that you don't see from corporate. Like right now, you watch Disney is actively involved in destroying their brand. Disney is just, could you shoot yourself in the dick more? How about you have another transvestite with a mustache in a dress at your princess school at your fucking Disneyland in Florida? Really, dude? Now, if that was the Village People, I'd be cool, man. Why? But fucking Disneyland, and you've got a dude in drag with a fucking mustache at the little princess fucking, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my God. No, that's us. That's NPRmageddon. That is Atrocity Press. That's Boneyard. That's Hart Attack. That's American Horrors. We're all fucked up, but we're not for kids.
Yeah. No, we're going to be doing the dick shooting around here.
Yeah. We'll shoot our own dicks. Thank you.
Thanks.
Right. Well, guys, we've been going for about an hour and 39 minutes here. I know Max is looking to like get some more soda pops. Is there anything you want to say to wrap it up?
Just please listen to NPRmageddon, and you go to nprmageddon.com/listen,
Yeah.
And
we hope we've wet your whistle to at least check out a show if you haven't already.
Give it a shot, man. And if you like smart science fiction that is
dark comedy, satire,
very
satirical.
brutal,
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll dig it. Give it a listen, give it a shot. I think
all we're asking for is a shot.
Oh, shot, man. Just give us a shot.
I'm going to say, man, this is the perfect show to listen to on the way to work. You're going to work or you're coming home from work. It's a perfect podcast. You know, living in LA, you know your drive time's an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Traffic in LA or Chicago or New York or any other major city. The podcast is kind of perfect for that. You guys designed it with the flow of NPR. Like, you guys really understood the beast you were tangling with, and you did a fantastic job of it. Keeps moving. So people at home who think, oh, NPRmageddon, guys, it's NPR at the end of the fucking world with the revolution happening and all kinds of crazy shit. It is not like a fucking 10-hour drama bullshit. Stephen King's The Stand regurgitated yet again. No, it's not. It's you guys really did a good job. It's poppy. It moves. It keeps going. It's fucking amazing. And
it's paced really well.
Go forward.
Really is paced well.
Yeah. We went for a certain density, right? Like we didn't want to be a podcast like there's some kind of like suspense horror podcast out there that's like there's a mysterious.
Dude, easy to you fucking talk to me. I'm only hearing the fucking character from goddamn NPRmageddon.
Oh no! Now I'm gonna start.
I just keep hearing the NPRmageddon guy talk to me.
No, yeah, we didn't want the slow burn podcast, right? Well, like we wanted to hit you in the mouth. Like Max outside of Walmart. We just wanted to really smack you around.
Just the full Max treatment off like 12
off a stop sign. That's my favorite one of my favorite parts of the story. Besides the cop, are you armed? Hell yeah, I'm armed.
Yeah, I only got half a pack left, and I'm feeling hungry. But no, yeah, we're kind of smash mouth radio play, and I'd say if you don't like what you're hearing right now, wait about 3 or 4 minutes, and you're going to get a different brand of comedy. You're going to get a different sketch. Like we keep it moving, like you said.
And give it a little bit of time because Bryan's going to morph into a different part of National Lampoon history.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so happy to have you on here for the first new Hart Attack and for having me on your show. I really enjoyed being a part of what you guys are doing. If there's anything else I could do to facilitate your careers or help you guys out without sucking any dick, I'm there.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having us on, and I guess this will be airing on Halloween. So happy Halloween, everybody!
Happy Halloween,
We're in the past.
Hart, thanks so much for all your support. You've been one of the biggest OGs for us, so thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Hart.
and thanks to Max for running the show.
And thanks, and we'll never cross Max.
Smoking smokes and drinking.
What I've learned today is like don't fuck with Max.
Don't fuck with Max.
Don't fuck with Max.
Moral of the story.
We got more quotes, man. We got more episodes. They're going to be coming out, Peter and Bryan. They're bad.
Well, if you guys want to hang out, we'll wrap up the show, and then we can BS afterwards.
All right, sounds great.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we'll chat for a bit. Max, good job, bro.
All right. So you want to
handsome son of a bitch.
Yeah. You want to take us out of here?
Hi, I'm Hart Fisher from American Horrors and Hart Attack. We're back. We are on the air again. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to bring out a lot of cool people. Max is my co-host here on the channel. You're going to hear me blow smoke up his ass just like I did to Digger T. Mesh and Kevin Eastman on American Horrors. But we're all friends here. We're going to have a good time, and we want to have fun. And we want to talk about horror, and we want to talk about what we do. And so we've got some really great people coming up on the show. We do have Tom Holland coming up. That's going to be really cool. And a lot of other amazing people. Hi, I'm Hart Fisher. It's great to be back with Hart Attack, and enjoy your Halloween.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.